have a new recorder. Trying to remember to use it in case I like a song. I'll make the effort to put them together. If I don't like it, no big deal. I don't have to put them all together. That's why I always avoided doing that, because I was like, I don't want to have to splice a million songs together. Feels like a million sometimes, but it is, hundreds a year. And if you don't love them all, there's no reason to put them all online. There's no reason to put them all in the world. But if I use the multi-tracking thing, in fact, I shouldn't even be at my piano. I also realized I could be in ProTools right now on my keyboard. Maybe I should switch in case I love these songs. I'm feeling like creating. Let's do that. Let's switch together. All right, you can see my messy house, although we did just take our tree down. I didn't put on makeup or even get dressed. I have on like pajama pants and I'm very scrubby right now. But let's see. What could this look like? It could look like there. It could look like that. Just kind of like a very strange little view of the keyboard. Could look like a little more light. Don't really need that basket, but that's okay. I don't know that I even need the headphones. It could look like turning on the keyboard. Okay. It could look like turning on ProTools. And I don't think this pedal squeaks, so that's an upside of things. It's cranked way up because I teach piano from it and I want to make sure it cuts through because I teach virtually right now. Oh, this will only work if I set up the microphone. So, bear with me. Now you see why I'm so lo-fi, because I am very overwhelmed by the necessary work of being a studio musician. It just requires a lot of attention to detail, and I have a great attention to detail when it comes to lyrics, songwriting. I like attending to literature. I like attending to, poetry, meaning, spirituality, wisdom. Like they say like what you should do with your life is what you would do for free, unpaid. Like I would read poetic things. I would listen to poetic things. I would listen to anything that someone might consider art. And I would study it. I would read spiritual books, mostly nowadays the Bible, but, tons of other things that have helped me over the years. Taoism, Buddhism. I think that some things have led me astray as much as they've helped, but that doesn't change their helpfulness with learning how to, I feel like, almost like see in the dark. I just shared about that on my Instagram, not my main Instagram account, but my JitterTunes profile, and that is a lyric-only profile, mostly lyric-only. And that is a place where I just, feel free to share, just if I feel like handwriting out some lyrics in my journal, usually during the, learning a song process. The JitterTunes account is a place that I feel free to just share those and not feel like I'm just, I don't know. Narcissism is real in modern culture, but it's also the only way is that we can interact in the matrix. You kind of have to learn to accept yourself. You have to learn that inside the matrix of technology, unless you present yourself, you're literally not there. You're a ghost. You're a memory in people's minds from a time they saw you in real time. So, and that's fine, but that's a choice. That's like being an introvert who hangs out at home and doesn't have any interactions. And so you may be observing all these other people who are existing in the matrix, and you're not sitting there thinking, maybe you are, that they're also narcissistic. You're just thinking they're real and they exist. This person's doing this person's saying that, and you're having negative or positive thoughts about them, whereas those people aren't even experiencing you. They're only experiencing you now because you've chosen not to present yourself for fear of narcissism. They're only experiencing you in their memory of interactions. And that can actually be very sacred and beautiful. I think that's how things were in the old days. Like when I think of who the cool kids were at school, it's not like that was presented to us. It was just something in the collective minds of a class of kids based on one thing one person said, and then we all go home and we wish we were that girl or that guy. So that's what the world was before the Matrix that I'm calling it. But it's, you know, this is a place where you kind of have to get over your fear of seeming narcissistic if you want to be present for others, if you want to share, if you want to connect, if you have music to share, if you have comments to share on other people's music or comments to share on other people's art and poetry or wisdom, and you want to tell them, hey, that meant a lot to me, but you realize that makes you seem like, who am I? Why would they care that I said that? You know, and it makes you self-aware because you're seeing your own name and your own comment on there for all time, and it's like collected and grounded, and you have to grapple with that feeling of like narcissism, like, who am I to think that my comments or dissections or anything matter to any of these people? So it's weird times that we're living in, but I recommend getting over that fear of being self-involved or that fear of seeming self-involved, when really we're all self-involved because we're all involved in ourselves, because we can't not be involved in ourselves because we're trapped in ourselves. So everything you are experiencing about this reality called life, called being alive, called being in your soul and in your spirit, is through the lens of yourself, and mine is through the lens of myself. And if I get lost in myself, it traps me. It not only, I think I get more lost in myself when I'm withdrawing from sharing. That's me being more lost in myself, because then I'm alone and I'm not letting anyone else have a perspective or an opinion on where myself currently is. So that's fear. It's fear trapping us in being alone, thinking that that's somehow less narcissistic, but who knows? That could literally be more narcissistic, to be so wanting to be in control of how we're perceived that we won't just present who we actually are to each other. Because if you just present who you actually are, then everyone else gets to have an opinion about that, and they get to assess. They get to even just make they could make the overarching opinion of TL semicolon DR. Too long didn't read. I could have just said too long didn't read, but I think it's funnier to think of it as the TLDR. But that's true. That's my, someone could easily just make that judgment from the outside without listening to a single word I have to say, just because I have so many words I say. I've had people close to me most likely think that thought, because I feel that and I sense that from them, and I've judged them back for writing me off for having so many words to say. I've judged them back, Well, where's your words? Where's your life story? Where's your, but it's neither. It's just personal preference. I'm too many words for many people, and I'm not too many words for some people. For some people, this is a touch point in a world that's blowing each other up and storming capitals. For some people, this is a touch point because it's just a person continuing to exist and be alive and be in their creativity, including sad songs, including trauma, including whatever. That's just what I do. What I kind of have to do, because trauma eats me alive when I keep it to myself. Or the repercussions and results and sorrows that came from trauma eats me alive. I've been having a lot of really vivid dreams lately. A lot of images and metaphors. This is set up, but it's not on. A lot of images and I haven't played a show in a really long time. Actually, I played 2 online shows last year, and 1 real one before the pandemic. They were all very nice. I'm very grateful. But I used to play shows, like multiple shows a month, and that is sometimes, like when we were on tour, it was every single night, and that was only the year before, so it's weird to think how far away I've gotten from my love affair with a microphone. But I feel like being away from microphones has caused me to work on my voice and not just rely on technology. Well, it's caused me to work on bringing my voice forward and connecting it to my heart. That's been a big theme of late 2020 and 2021 so far, is realizing that my voice was insincere and that I was ghosting my own life. And I got that comment from a fan on a show about 2 years ago, saying that I wasn't bringing my whole self anymore, and I took offense at the time because it was very hard to hear. It was minutes after a show, so I was really offended. But I think he was just struck by the fact that my songs had been really ballsy and really gutsy and had changed to something really floaty and ethereal and only half present. Like almost like I wanted you to check out and float away in a dream, because that's what I was doing. And he didn't understand that about my new music. And in hindsight, I think had I known how to straddle between the worlds and between the approaches, it could have been okay. But there were parts in those songs that got loud, and I still didn't bring it, so to speak, because I was trying to be on autopilot and was trying to ghost my own life. I was trying not to feel. I was trying not to live in my heart. That's very true. In 2019, I was in my head, and my voice and my heart and my gut felt dangerous. They felt like places where I would just, I don't know, yell, be mad, not be willing to put up with things I was being asked to put up with spiritually, universally. In terms of fate, I feel like I've been tested a lot in the last few years, but I've also made some really big mistakes, if you believe in mistakes, or you could say they were learning curves that I needed to learn. Some of them felt like things I had to learn a second time or even a third time, like going through middle school again. But anyway, this is not writing a song. I meant to write a song here. Let me see if my ProTools is ready. Aha. ProTools, check. I've got that line in. I've got the microphone line in. Ready to go. Should be out of the way enough. I'm on a wheelie chair though. That's not going to work, is it? I don't know. Kind of low for piano. Let's see if that works. It's kind of a weird angle. If I go up on the bench, I'll be like out of the frame. But that's okay. Perfectly out of the frame, Jess. I also just put the phone on a book. Okay. Create new session. Create blank session. Okay. Let's call it New Song, New Year, 2021. Boom. Oh, I thought you just saw my polka dot pajamas. Okay, closing the door. Putting the sign on the door that says recording in progress. See, this is why I like being lo-fi. I might have just accidentally killed whatever fire I was feeling to write songs by rambling and setting up instead. Oh well. Okay, so now I need a new track, new audio track. Let's do that. And then I need a new MIDI track for the keyboard. Let's do that. Let's make sure they're both working. Yep. They're both working. See, I've been trying to make this point for years, but I could also just be quiet about it. But the reason I am so lo-fi, I swear, it's because my studio engineer boyfriend, he knows that like when I was doing the 365 songs, like it would have been nice if they were all studio quality. Like it would have been nice for others, you know, to be able to listen to whichever of those songs they liked and have them sound good, you know. I don't mean the lo-fi sounds bad. It's just in my case I was using a scrappy piano or a really janky recorder that just broke recently. Now I've got my new Tascam. So if I don't ever want to go render these in Pro Tools, I've got this that I can use to just listen in the car. I've got it on my phone. 3 sources of audio. Check, check, check. Plus a video. I could even get fancy if I was really feeling inspired and put a second video right here of just the keys up close. Or I could put it here so that it'd be meta and you could see the whole, whatever. I'm just rambling. Okay. Da 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 da. I think my gain is hot enough. Da da da. I think it's even too hot. Let's bring that gain down just a little. Da 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 da. Because I want to be able to sing loud enough that it sounds good on the other recording too. Da 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 da. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to my life, I guess. Here we go. put on a different sound. Oh yeah, I gotta record. Oops, and it's giving me a click track. That is not the speed of this song. I guess I could make it the speed. No, I've found it's another thing I've debated with my engineer boyfriend. No offense, Brian. He makes great points. But if I would compose with a click track on, then you could add drums, you could add bass, you could add a lot of things. But I tried it. I've tried it quite a few times. I can't compose with a click track on because I'm thinking of the thing that I'm going to play. And also I like playing rubato, but that's not the only reason. You can alter a song later and take the rubato of waiting to hear inspiration of what chord I'm going to play next, and you can shrink. Rubato is just like freeness, you know, being free inside of a song rhythmically. But so yeah, it's not just a dedication to rubato the way that a classical pianist would play without a click track. Like, they would just play and they would keep the tempo steady, and if you can't, like, keep practicing, you know. So it's not just that, it's also just for composing reasons. Okay, hello. I'm going into my song world now, so I'm not going to be very presentational anymore. That was just what I did to entertain myself while setting all this up. And now going into the rainbow that my niece Brooklyn wrote when she was like 6. Jessica in the rainbow she made. And that's Sawyer who drew. He was even younger. He drew me a rainbow. He was black underneath them at the bottom. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to him about that. Just kidding. Sawyer, it's fine. I don't care. I'm being funny. All right. I think I need some trees. Oh, polka dot pajamas. There's my favorite trees. All right. That clap is the start on the Pro Tools. I should make it louder so that I really know I'm starting. Yes, that one showed on the Pro Tools really, really well. Okay, here we go. You made it up there, day. Moving right through That's why I tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in with something beyond outside. Take a risk, make a choice, it's alright, it's alright. I can choose a new thing, I can choose. To begin again and 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 again that whole thing recorded. I write songs in threes, and those are probably, mostly for me, nothing that'll be on an album unless I someday randomly mix this down and make it into an EP. But I'm suspecting, I saw that the vocal mic peaked a lot, so the keyboard sound, in order to be picked up by the phone in the Tascam, was also picked up in the vocal mic, so then I don't have pure vocals now. So if I decide to mix that, it's gonna be, there's not much work. There's not a lot you can do with that unless I could find a way to isolate. If I isolate and only heard the keyboard in my headphones so that the mic would be pure, then I wouldn't have it on these immediate fun sources, which is my lo-fi side, but also just my immediate instant gratification mixed with I write too many songs to be precious about it side, and there's no way to know in advance which, what ones are going to be ones I want to hear just for posterity, to kind of like how you would reread an old journal and kind of try to understand what was I feeling in January of 2021 that made me make X or Y or Z choice. I don't reread old journals very often, but I used to. Specifically, I would seek out journals from points in my life when I had made really drastic choices that I'm now surprised years later that I made, and I would go back sometimes almost in desperation to try to understand what was motivating me. And so I would grab a stack of journals from that few month period and then just kind of pour through them, and in many cases I found the moment of the choice, and it usually was a giving up my choice to someone else's choice. That's usually every choice I've ever made, a fork in the road, where I, in hindsight, look back and feel like I was disempowered. It's because I chose to give away my power, or I chose to align my power with someone else's choice or needs. And I didn't fight for my own needs in that scenario and make sure both needs were being met. I just, without any argument or discussion, whoever's needs were louder in the room, they didn't even know I was doing this usually. I would just yield and basically play the martyr. I mean, I did it in some very toxic situations, played the martyr to be the nice person. But I'm talking even in very healthy situations. In my two most healthy friendships and relationships, I do it all the time. I yield, and I don't try to have an equal voice. I don't try to have an equal vote against strong voices. I just yield. And I yield my truths. And maybe that's part of what created this offshoot of, and that's not their fault, because they are the thing that I'm looking up to, which is someone who has a confident and direct voice in the world and knows themselves. It's just that, I was also born with either a fear of conflict or just a very sensitive heart that some of the people I look up to don't maybe have as breakable of a heart as I do. And they're not sensitive as some of the most loving people I know. They're just not affected by me having a strong opinion back. Or maybe one is and one isn't. Whatever. I'm summarizing my 2 closest friendships, and I probably shouldn't try to do that for strangers on YouTube, but just basically trying to say that it's not necessarily like, oh, you're so unhealthy if you play the martyr. It could just be like you're an Enneagram 4 and you take the world very sensitively and you're overwhelmed by things easily, or maybe like me, you're an INFJ and you have all these big ideals and visions, but you don't know how they are needed in the world, and so you're just kind of floating or drifting or confused a lot. But I mean, it's also just being an artist. Like, I'm an artist, you're probably an artist if you're into these. Like, I'm trying to just kind of free people. Like, this is, if I had a main thrust or a main mission in life, like when I'm around all my nieces and nephews, I'm always just wanting to like figure out what makes them tick and help them feel empowered to be it and to do it. Like, that feels like part of the thrust of my life, is to help empower people to be themselves. And obviously I want you to be your most healthy self, but I'm not in control if your healthy self is on the other side of a journey through some really painful stuff. That could be. That was true for me. And then as you journey through that really painful stuff, you might have offshoots of personality that are not your best. And I did, certainly. I wrote a trigger warning EP a little over a year ago just because of a couple things that, 2 people did to me, people that I cared about, and they wounded me very deeply. And suddenly I had regressed like 20 years in terms of behavior. And I was acting like a angry, pissed off Fiona Apple type again, out of the blue. And that was who I had been much, much younger. And it was just, partly I was also playing a Fiona Apple benefit show at the time, so I was like channeling her energy and music. But when I wrote that trigger warning EP, I was practicing Fiona Apple constantly. But also, it just was how certain things were kind of leading me to feel, because, you're never like permanently fixed. You're not permanently free of your weaknesses or your hang-ups or your sins or your shortcomings or your humanity. No matter how much therapy you do, you have blind spots. No matter how saved you feel from a church, you have blind spots. And that's the issue that I usually have with people, and it's why I'm so introverted. It's hard for me to be around people that either won't admit their blind spots or can't talk about their blind spots or think they don't have blind spots or think that therapy or healing or social justice or some other thing has made them like exempt from certain things that are common to all of humanity. And I know that this is real because I have done it. I have felt times in my life where I felt so healed and so many epiphanies back to back that I just felt like above it all, or above certain stumbling blocks and weaknesses. And it's the biggest trap on the planet. Gotta let that go. We're not better than each other, but some of us may be farther on the path than others. And both are okay to admit. It's okay. Anyway, have a great day. I'll leave you with some art by my friend Ryan, because I like to share this. I always share this piece. But I've been looking at it while I was talking. Ryan Wyrick. He does a ton of my album covers, if you recognize this art style. He's a brilliant, brilliant human being. All right. Bye.